Valley Center City Council meeting for September 6, 2022 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo.
Here.
Councilmember Stamm.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Bass.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Please rise for the invocation. And normally I would follow that up with the Pledge of Allegiance, but since we have scouts, both boys and Girl Scouts in the room, it's customary for me to ask the scouts to step forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So after the invocation, if both the boys and Girl Scouts would step up by the podium and lead us in the pledge, that would be appreciative.
Let's pray. God, thanks so much for today. Thanks for just another beautiful day. Thanks that we could be here tonight. Just pray for the leadership as they continue to lead well in this town. Just let this meeting be as fruitful as it needs to be, Lord, and just be with all the people that are in here, all the folks, all the families, all those that are making the decisions, and continue to be with the citizens here in Valley as well, Lord. Just continue to watch over this town. We love you, and it's your name we pray. Amen.
Scouts, both boys and Girl Scouts, please step up to the podium, and you guys can discuss among yourselves who's going to start it.
I got put on the spot.
I know.
The flag's behind you.
Behind. Yep. This way.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, council, as if you've looked, you've already realized that we've made some adjustments to the agenda. There is nothing added. We are just rearranging some items. So from the original agenda, items D, E, and F will now become A, B, and C, and A, B, and C will become D, E, and F. So is there a motion?
Motion to approve agenda as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. All right. Item 6, administrative agenda, the city council meeting minutes of August 16th, 2022.
Move to approve the minutes of August 16th, 2022 as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Item 7, we have a presentation on the Meridian, a presentation regarding the update on the Meridian Street project.
Hello, everybody. I just want to give a quick update on the Meridians project as we're going through design right now. It's been a while since we've kind of looked at this, so figured it'd be good for everybody to refresh on this one. I can figure out Barry's mouse here, but here we go. So this is the North Meridian segment from 5th Street down here on the south side. And that carries all the way up to, I'm sorry, backwards. That's Main Street on the south side up to 5th Street up here on the north end. Really not a whole lot is changing. Storm sewer, a lot of inlets are being added. Storm sewer pipe all the way up through here. The big change is really the bulb outs. Nice feature there to kind of protect parking and create that feature where it's a little safer for people getting in and out of their cars. Something that is missing from this display that will be added is at 4th Street. If I can find my way there. Where are we at here? That's 3rd. 4th is off the page. There we go. I got her. There we go. At 4th Street, we will be adding pavement marking for the crosswalk there, realizing that that's kind of the direction kids will go to Abilene to the east. So before we jump to the other segments, I kind of want to give the opportunity at each of these to bring up discussion points if anybody's interested in any other items. Otherwise, if no questions on the north segment, I'll move on to the next.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
On the sidewalks on both sides of the road,
Yes.
or what's the width on those?
So the west side is a 10-foot path. The east side is a 6-foot, I believe.
And in this diagram, the top is the west, correct?
Yes, correct.
So 10 on the west and 5.
5 or 6 on the east. I believe it's 6. Yep. And at certain locations that may scale back to a little bit more narrow of a width to get around utilities or trees as needed. But for the most part, it's 10 foot throughout.
How's that going to do for, what's the standard easement in this section?
So through here, what's unique about this one is Meridian is not actually on the prime meridian. The street is offset from the section line, and the right-of-way to the west is very far back.
Okay.
There's lots of space through there, and at the moment, we are putting together track maps and legal descriptions so the city can start acquiring what's needed for the project.
Okay. I was just driving up and down, and it doesn't look like there's enough space for 10 feet.
Right.
So you might want to get ahead of the curve, and a lot of history with sidewalks up here.
Right.
Um,
So it's a, I think, 80-foot right-of-way width. The east sidewalk shown there is actually up against the right-of-way line. So there'll be some temp easement needed for construction. But the west side, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if people realize where the property line is on that side, but it's very far back from what our research shows.
You can answer this at the end, but what's the start date on this one?
Right now, letting for bids is scheduled to take place in the spring to early summer of this coming year.
2023?
Construction typically starts within 60 days afterwards.
Okay.
So likely summer next year is when this will all start.
Councilmember Wilson.
So looking at some of these issues going into driveways and such, I'm looking particularly there at Main Street and Meridian for Emprise Bank. That's coming in deep into their property. Is that to kind of alleviate the nasty entryway they currently have?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm guessing you've driven that.
I work for them, so yeah, I drive it a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. The limits of that go up right up to the nose of the ATM machine there, not impacting the ATM, but to the base of that concrete.
Excellent. And then all the entryways into like first, second, third, and fourth, those are basically to eliminate the dips that are currently there. Drainage dips.
There will still be some ditch because we need to carry the flow line, but we are smoothing out that. And really, to be quite honest, on that bank entrance too, it's still not going to be perfect.
Sure.
It's going to be better than it is, but there's such a great difference there. You can't, without tearing everything out, you can't really fix it completely.
And then on Second Street there, what is that is crossing Second Street just to the, right up there? Whoops, down there?
Yeah, control this mouse. They're right
Yeah,
there.
Right there, yeah, correct.
Yep, those are storm sewer inlets and a
Okay.
pipe underneath the road.
Perfect.
You can kind of see, pointing them out all the way through here. Yeah,
Okay.
additional inlets and piping.
Thank you.
Councilmember Anderson.
You mentioned some of the sidewalks narrowing for trees. What's our policy going to be? Because we've got quite a few mature trees along there, and I would like to
Yes.
see us try our best to not disturb those. And I'm sure that the homeowners are going to have the same
Right.
feeling.
And that's going to be very difficult, to be quite honest. A lot of those trees will need to be removed for the installation of this road and sidewalk project. We have a landscape architect who has looked at this too, notifying us of which trees look like they probably need to come out and what they can be replaced with. So we are working hand in hand with our landscape architect on that issue, but there's no real sugarcoating it. A lot of these trees will have to come out.
Is that something that we can have a discussion with the homeowners of which trees were going to be designated to be removed?
Yep, that's
And make sure we have
typically,
communication with that so that there's not, it'll soften the discussion a little bit, I think.
and that's typically our process where we mark them up on the tract maps that the city will take for property
Okay.
acquisition to each of the individual owners and let them know what the full impacts are
Okay.
to their property.
And also, Dale was discussing the timeline on this, which leads me into, is that road going to be torn up for next fall festival parade?
I'm actually a Valley Center resident and I'm mindful of that as well. I'm working on that with Brent and Rodney here, but the idea is, or at least my thought is that we can phase this in a way that construction on this segment takes place so it won't interfere with the fall festival.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We'll have to, like you've already looked at and known, this is taking place with the South Meridian project. It's all one big project. So we'll have to look at how we phase those to make that happen.
Okay. As long as we take some thought into that. I know it can't always work out, but
Yeah.
at least we're looking at that. I appreciate that.
And really, while we're on that too, construction sequencing for this north segment is 1 lane, 1 way, northbound, I think is what we decided upon to carry traffic up through there. It will be an inconvenience for people living along there. There's just the normal process of a construction project. It's inconvenient, but they'll be happy when it's done.
Thank you.
Anybody else at the moment? Nope. Continue.
All right, on to the next piece. Probably the one everyone's most interested in, the roundabout. But we took comments into consideration from the last time this was presented with the free right there. Now protected with a median. Notice the here on 69th, which is shown at the bottom of the page. This is eastbound 69th. The free right movement will have to be a yield condition. So they'll come up here, look for oncoming traffic. With the slow speeds that are coming through off the roundabout, people will see each other and be able to react a little easier than when they're going 45 miles an hour. Otherwise, it's a standard single lane roundabout. We add the 4th lane back in up here just beyond or just near the entrance to the fireworks stand on the north side. And then we carry on 4-lane traffic from there. Before we move on to this, I'll give opportunity for comment or questions.
Just like to remind everybody, but that this is really being told, but what this part is being paid for by the county. Parts of it are. So they had a major say so in what this was going to look like. So. We're going to move on because I know what you're going to. Councilmember Kerstetter.
I like everything but this slide right here, but you knew that already. So I'm not a fan of roundabouts. That's all.
Anything else?
Nope, not at the moment. So.
All right, and this is the rest of the South Meridian segment. It's kind of hard to see on here, and I realize it's your standard 4-lane going up to with the free right, single lane through the roundabout again, 4-lane. The other thing I want to point out is, again, we are keeping the east curb line and just tying into it for most of this project. That was decided upon long ago, so we're continuing on with that. Adding the free rights, one into Magellan there, and then a free right into or off of Meridian and onto Ford going to the east down here at the bottom of the page. Other things that have been added since you've probably looked at this last, we've aligned the entrance into leakers going off Ford Street.
Builders first source. Sorry, it's builders first
Oh, I'm
source.
sorry. I'm still stuck. Old
I know you are,
mindset.
but that's why I wanted to, in case they're listening, I don't want them to get upset.
First source, yeah, yep. And this will also connect to the bank parking lot to allow access to and from the bank. And then also, as I was here last time and discussed with the railroad crossing option, we have started that communication with the railroad and moving forward with keeping the pavement as is and replacing in place, basically. There's also, which is hard to see on here, but a crosswalk that's being added just to the north of Ford Street, crossing Meridian. As discussed previously with city staff, that will have flashing beacon signage similar to what's out here on Fifth Street going to and from McLaughlin Park. Otherwise, I'll open it up for comment or questions.
Any questions from council?
You know it.
Councilmember Kerstetter. I could have just said no and sent him away.
On, you mentioned right-hand turn lanes near the pipeline. Is that what you called it?
Oh, to Magellan up
To
here?
Magellan, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you point that out again? It's
Sitting right here. That's one of
Okay.
the things that we've talked
what's
about.
on the right side. If you move to
Over
your
here?
right, keep going to your right.
To the right.
Yeah,
The
right
exit?
there.
The exit.
Well, I mean, there's a little dip right there. that-
Oh, sidewalk. That's the existing sidewalk.
All right. Zoom functions are
But
Helpful.
while you're pointing that out, this right turn lane into Magellan here, as far as I know, there's been no discussion with them yet. And we would like to figure out which entrance that free
Okay.
right or right-hand turn lane needs to go
That's
to.
actually my next question. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, come on. Somebody.
No. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All righty. At this time, we are at the public forum. Public forum is a chance for anybody that's here in the audience that would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, we have no appointments and we have no old business. So we're going to move right into new business. Item A, Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival request. Mr. Shriven, how are you, sir?
Good, Mayor Lou. How are you?
Good.
The council members, how are y'all doing?
Great.
I do have to apologize. There are a couple of dates that are incorrect on the sheet that I sent to Brent. But as you know, Fall Festival is just a few weeks away, so I wanted to come ask for some road closures. It's basically going to be the same thing we've done in the past. Main Street from Meridian to Ash, and then South Park. Those would be closed Thursday evening at 5, so they could start putting the rides together, things like that. Have them ready by 5 Friday evening. And then North Park Street would close Friday morning. That's for the food truck vendors, and then a couple other vendors as well. We would also like to close Park Street from Main North. That's for vendors. And then South Park for the rides. And then the 200 block of South Abilene Saturday for Kids Fest. That's the Life Point Church venture that they do every year from 2 to 4 there. And then, of course, the Fall Festival Parade closing. And thank you, Councilman Anderson, for asking about next year's Fall Festival with Meridian. Yeah, we would like to ask for a closure of Meridian again from the intermediate school down to Clay, where Pizza Hut is. The time of the parade's 10 a.m. through 11. Usually Lloyd kind of helps me and figure out when we're going to close the roads and things like that for that. He gets that kind of set up, Public Works as well. And then we would like to ask a city council to sponsor the Fall Festival again this year. Last year you contributed $5,000. You guys actually voluntarily upped that. So thank you guys for that. But we're going to go ahead and ask for that $5,000 again this year to help us put on the event. So any other questions about that?
Nope, don't see any.
Make a motion to approve the request for road closures and donation in the amount of $5,000 to the Valley Center Chamber of Commerce for the 2022 Fall Festival.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. So it's my understanding that you have some more information.
I do. I have a couple of quick things I'd like to take care of. So recently, the entire high school staff was asked to pick 3 seniors based on academics, school involvement, leadership, and character to be the Junior Citizen of the Year in Valley Center. This young lady was the top vote getter. They tell me overwhelmingly. I mean, it was not even close. So I would like to introduce our 2022 Junior Citizen of the Year, Natalie Delgado. Come on. All right, this next gentleman was nominated several times for Citizen of the Year. They told me he does a lot of work with the elderly around town, whether it's yard work, getting people to appointments, doing handiwork, things like that. One person even told me that this guy could be Citizen of the Year every year for the work he does. To me, he was the face of the Valley Center Post Office for about 30 years. So our Citizen of the Year for 2022 is Ed Timison.
No, I don't. We'll be moving again here in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Last but not least, this guy is a longtime supporter of all things Valley Center. That includes, working football games. This guy was a mainstay on Main Street for over 60 years, which is just unbelievable. I've been on Main Street for 5, and I don't know how anybody could do that. But from starting in 1966 and then ending in 2018, this guy was downtown for 62 years, cutting hair. Our 2022 Fall Festival Grand Marshal, Larry Nordson.
Smile. My goodness.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of you. All righty, moving on to item B, 2023 Girl Scout Silver Award Blessing Box. And who is going to, here they come. Tell us your names.
I'm Piper Smith. I'm Evelyn Murray. I'm Kara Graverson.
So kind of along where the sidewalk is and mhm. And you're here to ask us what? Are you here to ask our blessing for the blessing box?
We're here to ask permission to place our blessing box in that area that we had mentioned.
Well, before I ask the council for their vote on this, which I'm pretty sure I know what's going to be, I think it's great that you're doing this. We always get things done, a lot of different things done in this city due to the scouting organizations. And it's nice to have the Girl Scouts come and ask for something for, it doesn't happen as often as the Boy Scouts, but I'm glad you came and you did that. So with that said, council, if there is a motion for that.
Motion for approval of blessing box to be installed as a Silver Award Girl Scout project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Councilmember Anderson.
I just wanted to make sure that we're clear. I mean, that area is okay. It's been cleared with city staff for. Okay. I just want to make sure we've had the discussion. Great. I think this is similar to the like what we have across front on 5th Street, just
Yeah,
west
it'll
of
be,
Meridian. Okay.
It'll be a bit bigger than that one. We're hoping.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you for coming. You can do it.
Great, thank you.
Happy building.
Moving around the agenda pad in the iPad, that's fun when it's always not in order. We'll move on to item C. KPTS partnership request. And
Yeah, that makes sense. I think.
welcome, Victor. Welcome again, Victor.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
you
much,
coming.
Mayor. Thank you. And, Mayor and members of the council, it's a pleasure to be back. And sorry some of you missed our grand opening of your new public television building. But if you do have time, give us a call. We'd like to give you tours. I think you'll be proud. I know that Valley Center has been showing up, answering phones and having the Valley Center night, having a wonderful time. We've nicknamed them the Wild Bunch. And it's a good thing because, you know, they light up the phone and keep everybody laughing and keep the enthusiasm alive. But I'm here this evening to say to you that with our new building, we have bigger plans for our services to the communities that we serve. Everything in television, as you know, takes money, unfortunately. But imagine Valley Center's Fall Festival being produced in a special and broadcast on television. Imagine all of the other things that we do for you in Valley Center, the 30-second spot, the mayor on television with his spot. And
Okay, well, nothing's perfect. Okay, but all right. Sorry.
yeah, good job. And then the 30-second spot that teaches people about Valley Center. And I'll tell you this, your city manager or administrator is very proud of the city. I mean, it shows. I work with this man, and you have a good one, folks, okay? That'll be $10, right?
Oh, he let you off cheap.
Clay, with all of the partnerships that we have, I think you've seen your spots. You've seen the pieces, the features that we've done on the Valley Center, on Positively Kansas. And it goes out to all 42 counties. And if you include satellite, it goes out all over the state because we're watched via satellite all over the state. And so I'm here this evening to ask you to renew your annual partnership. I know Brent kept it to $5,000. I like it to be more, but we'll take the $5,000 if that's all you have to offer at this time. But I hope that you can consider that in the future because our goal is to now get a remote truck, a mobile unit, to do more things, to present to the viewing community your goals, your aspirations, your activities, to help you build the city. That's all we're about. Help you build Valley Center and the surrounding areas. And that's what public television does best. That's why we do the local programs that we do. And you'll be proud to know that NetJet called us and said, oh, we heard about your documentary. What's it called? Give me a second. Wichita, the air capital. And we would like to have all of our pilots watch this. I said, wow. So we send them a copy of it. As I stand right here now, we are airing right now for the first time a brand new documentary called Kansas Ghost Towns. We've done historic buildings of Kansas. We've done Joyland. We've done all kinds of wonderful documentaries. Kansas baseball, and the list goes on and on and on. Historic buildings of Kansas. The first episode was so popular that people requested another one. So that was done. They requested a part 3. That is being produced. Stations all over the state are asking to broadcast those documentaries. So this is what your public television is doing. Putting your name out there and also serving your interest. And so, Mr. Mayor, I ask that, you know, that we continue this partnership with PBS Kansas because it brings on-tour benefits to the city of Valley Center, and it also helps your public television station, PBS Kansas.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Councilmember Kerstetter,
How much did we donate last year?
5,000.
Same.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve partnership contribution to KPTS in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much. I apologize, I have to run because I have to be on television now. This is the last night of the pledge run. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support.
Thank you.
So C,
All right.
D is revenue.
Where are we at? We are at item E, the 2023 budget hearing.
D. Yeah.
D, I'm sorry. It's B on this too. Good evening, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we have reached the culmination point for the fiscal year 23 budget. And before we move on to our next item to approve that budget, we must follow through with the new state process of having our revenue neutral rate public hearing, along with a resolution either adopting to exceed that rate or not to exceed that rate. And on that resolution this year and moving forward after this year, it must be by a roll call vote. So when we get to that point, we'll have to individually, like we just do roll call for at the beginning of the meetings, we'll roll call each individual council member, record your vote, and that must be submitted to Cedric County with all the other budget documentations. So before we open the hearing, I just want to run through real quick and give a recap on what was proposed regarding the revenue neutral rate. As you know, the revenue neutral rate is what it would take to levy the previous year's tax dollars, utilizing next year's valuation expressed in that unit in mills. So last year we levied 54.848 mills, which generated just over $3.2 million. In order to generate that amount next year, we'd have to levy 51.140 mills. So that's the idea of this. But as we know, costs continue to go up. Prices never go back down, it seems like, and especially this time of year or this time with inflation and all that type of good stuff going on. So what we were proposing to keep the mill rate flat and levy that 54.848 again for fiscal year 23. That breaks down to overall revenue increases for each of our taxing funds in these amounts, which generate just over $236,000 in additional revenue. So I've gotten a couple of questions like, what if we levied the revenue neutral rate? How would that impact our budget? Well, as we proposed and presented during June and July and August, the additional revenue we are receiving for levying the same mill rate is broken down just like this. So general fund, that includes the community development FTE, the 2 fire department FTEs, and the additional parks and public buildings FTE. For bond and interest, it allows us to capture that additional revenue and keep our mill levy flat there. So as of right now, we do not need to raise that based upon future projects or current bond and interest or principal and interest payments out of our bond and interest fund. If we were to levy the revenue neutral rate, we would have to drop general fund revenues by about $163,000 and cancel those FTEs, and bond and interest, it would take away about $40,000. Then we'd have to revisit the fact of bumping that mill rate back up to 16.5 in order for us to stay up to date with our principal and interest payments. Regarding employee benefits, removing those additional proposed FTEs would also remove the additional proposed FTE benefit costs there, and that would reduce that revenue employee benefit by about $42,000. Emergency equipment, there was no new additional proposed items to be purchased from there. We would just have to reduce our capital improvement line by that $2,827. As a library, as they do receive a portion of our mill levy, the revenue they are scheduled to receive in addition to last year's would be that $12,567. If we were to levy the revenue neutral rate, we'd have to once again back that out. So just wanted to kind of be as transparent as possible and lay out exactly what we're doing with this generated revenue based upon the increases of valuations within the city. And so this is just the overall recap slide here regarding the general fund. If we were to back that out and keep all the new FTEs, if we were to back it out, get rid of the new FTEs, what our fund balance would be doing here. So just a quick overall recap. If there's any questions from council, I'd be glad to answer those. If not, we'll go ahead and request the mayor to open the public hearing.
I did not see which one of your lights came on first, but I'll go ahead and call on Councilmember Colbert first.
Yeah, I'd like to find out, what is the standing as far as our budget proposal compared to the other small communities? What do you know?
In regards to if they're levying the revenue neutral rate or if they're keeping the mill levy flat, I only know of one as of right now, and that's Goddard, and they were dropping about a third of that difference between the revenue neutral rate and what they levied the year prior. But mainly everyone else is just keeping their mill levy flat at what they levied the year before, which is what we're proposing to do.
There's only just one?
Yeah, I believe so.
I was understanding there's three.
I'd be glad to look into that for you if
Okay. Thank you.
during the break, or anything like that.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Can you go up to your employee benefit fund? This is more of a clarification, as I think I know the answer. Tell us why two fire department FTEs are a lot more than the two other FTEs.
So the employer portion, when we switched from Kpts to KP&F, went from 9% employer portion to 23% employer portion.
Right.
That's why they're much higher.
I know I wanted it to be,
Gotcha.
just, that's all I had. I actually, can I, one
Sure
statement. So regarding revenue neutral,
Yeah, say it 3 times fast now. Yeah.
regarding revenue neutral rate, part of me wants to go revenue neutral to give everybody a break, but knowing that we would have to not have the two fire department firefighters, that's a hard sell because I think we need the fire department, the firefighters. So I was looking at it, everybody's got inflation going on. Everybody has it, right? So it'd be nice to give back to those property taxpayers what little bit it would be. However, the cost of not having the firefighters is too great, in my opinion. So
Yeah, with costs going up on our end, it comes down to the argument of what services would you want to cut.
all
to-
right, no, and that's exactly where I was at.
That's why it's so difficult.
I would rather keep our mill levy the same right now and get our two firefighters than go revenue neutral. That's what I was trying to say. Thanks for helping me with that.
No problem.
Anybody else? Seeing nothing from the council, I can then open the public hearing. It is now 7:37:03. Yeah, I was going to do that. And I now open the public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none.
Anybody online?
Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:38:23. All righty. So now that we're through that, council, do we have a motion?
Well, no, we'll need to consider the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral rate. So the motion would be to approve the resolution 721-22, and then with the approval, then call a roll call vote. This is just saying we are going to exceed the revenue neutral rate of 51.140 mils.
Is there a motion for the resolution 721-22?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Christie, you may call the roll.
Councilmember Stamp,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Bass,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Gregory,
Yes.
Councilmember Kerstetter,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Colbert.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. All right, moving on to the 2023 budget hearing.
All right, so now that we have passed the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Now we move on to the budget itself for fiscal year 23. As presented and published in the Ark Valley News, this is our overall hearing statement here showing we tend to levy a mill levy rate of 54.848 mills, which equals the mill levy rate for fiscal year 22, and it will generate $3,492,559 in property taxes. And I included some slides here with the budget overview, but these are all exactly what we've been presenting since June and July. Shows our mill levy staying flat here, just a slight shift in different areas. Overall requests from general fund, including the extra HVAC units, the FTEs, which I just mentioned, the utility funds with the bulb replacements, manhole rehabs, everything there. Down here was just the expected changes to fund balance. And our overall general fund impact with our revenues and our scheduled expenditures. There's that drop in fund balance there that was planned and scheduled due to the employee raises, et cetera, everything like that. And the cost of everything else going up. Enterprise funds, special revenue funds. Just the overall recap on our current projects. And then the steps here would be to once again open the fiscal year 23 budget hearing or receive any comment. If no comments are provided, we'll close the hearing, and then I would request the fiscal year 23 budget to be adopted.
Any questions from council first? Seeing none, it is 7:41 and 29 seconds, and I hear opening the 2023 budget hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on that item? Seeing none, I will close the hearing at 7:41 and 42 seconds.
Motion for approval of the fiscal year 2023 budget as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Mayor Cicerillo does have the fiscal year 23 budget certificate page here. Make sure you please sign that before you leave this evening.
Right, council, I will pass that around. It does require all of us to sign. So now that it's been approved, I will start that distribution. And there is 2 copies. So, and just in case some of us that don't have the best eyesight, it's a 2-column item, so don't sprawl all over the place. I don't think we have any doctors here that have that handwriting. All right, we're going to move on to item G, Arbor Valley Phase 1 bid award approval.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you see, I'm not a member of JEO. I'm a member of the City of Valley Center. However, I am here to present to you the bids that were received for the Arbor Valley subdivision Phase 1. This was for water and paving and drainage. We received great bids, 4 of them. The numbers are there in front of you, ranging from just over a million to about 1.6. The engineer's estimate was 1.4 million, so it did come in a little bit under the engineer's estimate, which is always a great thing. This motion before you tonight is just to award the actual bid to the low bidder in Hvac. And then at the next meeting, September 20th, is when we'll have all the rest of the documentation when it comes to contracts and everything that you're used to seeing before you, along with our inspection, construction inspection agreement with PC will be on the next one. So all we're doing tonight is just approving the low qualified bid to Hvac Construction. Stand for any questions.
Any questions from council?
I move to approve low qualified bid from Hvac Construction Company, Inc.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item H, Sunflower Valley final plat approval.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure this evening to present the final plat for Sunflower Valley. This has gone through review with the preliminary plat with the Planning and Zoning Board and City staff, and then final plat approval with City staff and the Planning and Zoning Board as well. So we are recommending final approval tonight of the Sunflower Valley final plat. As noted in the staff report and the platting documentation before you this evening, This will generate multiple lots and some reserve areas. There will be 2 frontage lots that face Ford Street, and then a series of lots in the back. In conjunction with the final plat, next we'll be doing the rezoning that is in conjunction with this. But again, this is just approval of the final plat. City staff recommends approval based on the Planning and Zoning Board approving it. Recommending you approve this final plat tonight. The next steps being that the mayor, city attorney, and city clerk will sign this, and then the surveyor will take this and file it with the Register of Deeds office in Cedric County. Once that is done, the purchase agreements that you as City Council approved earlier this year with Casado McKay and the Crane Company, once the plat's been recorded, then those purchase agreements can go into effect, and we can set up closing days to actually sell those parcels to those 2 individuals for development. Stand for any questions you may have, but again, recommend approval of the final plat this evening.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Didn't we sell some of this already?
So we have purchase agreements, yeah. So the purchase agreements were signed, yes, by Casado McKay and then Crane Company. It's just that we could not officially sell the land because as it stands right now, it's only one parcel. They do not have their own legal descriptions. So we will be able to officially sell them, yes, once the plat is recorded with the county.
And then we will retain ownership of those reserve areas that are indicated in the plat.
So there's the large dry detention pond, the drainage canal. Those will still be under ownership of the city.
Okay.
So we can maintain those as part of the Ford Street project that was done a few years ago.
But yes, we sold all.
That's good.
I just haven't gotten the money for it yet. We're working on it.
We will. We will get the money for it. Yes.
I was getting lost in everything you were saying. I apologize.
No worries.
Councilmember Gregory.
This is totally inconsequential, but who came up with the street names?
Great question.
The street names were, so we went to the applicants and asked them for their input, of course, on the layout of the lots, the streets and whatnot, and working with our engineering company that created the plan of it, that was SEH. And so the street names are representative of, my understanding is from the Crane Company, different children's names. And so that's where those did come from. So there'll be a bit of legacy there for the Crane Company to provide that legacy to their children of having some streets named after them.
Okay, thank you.
Very cool.
Yep. And believe it or not, I was shocked, but I always check to make sure that because you cannot duplicate plat names, I was shocked to find that there were no Sunflower Valleys already in Sedgwick County. So this name is not used. So unlike a previous project where the name was already in use and we had to change the name, Sunflower Valley is available and will now be officially recorded.
Perfect.
Motion for approval of the Sunflower Valley final plat.
Second. A motion in a couple seconds. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item I, ordinance 13822, rezone for Sunflower Valley.
All right, so this is the first reading of this ordinance. This will, as Councilmember Kerstetter reminded us, we are selling these to Casado McKay as well as the Crane Company. And as well as doing the final plat before we can sell the land, we also wanted to make sure that the land is actually usable for the intended outcomes. And so the 2 frontage lots in this ordinance are proposed to be rezoned to C2, which is our general business district. And then the lots to the south of that will be zoned to our new zoning district R4. That will allow the duplexes, again, this would be 3D printed duplexes to be constructed and adhere to those new design standards that are in the R4 zoning district regulations. And so we are doing this. Again, this is the first reading, but this makes it so that when Casado McKay, when the Crane Company do actually acquire these lots, that they don't have to do the rezoning, that we've taken care of that. So they truly are shovel-ready lots in terms of putting in the infrastructure, the commercial buildings, and then the duplexes. Again, this was reviewed and approved by the Planning and Zoning Board, and we recommend approval of the first reading of this ordinance tonight.
Questions from council?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance 1382-22 to rezone property from RR1 to C2 and R4 for first reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving along to item J, approval of demolition of house on Ford Street.
Right down there because I'm short. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So what we have before you is approval for the demolition of the house at 1400 West 77th Street. If you recall,
1700. According to the document.
well, okay, well, on the bids it's 14.
That was my mistake.
If you recall, this property was purchased in order to realign the Seneca intersection so we can get rid of that jog. We need to, staff went through and researched many different strategies to do away with this house. We were even able to use quite a few items out of the house and donate them to worthy causes, Habitat for Humanity. So we looked at different avenues and even trying to use it as a training aid for burning. That's not going to work out through environmental concerns. So we gathered three qualifying bids to demo this house and remove debris, including some trees and a large concrete slab and an old septic tank off this property to continue on with the realignment of Seneca. Staff is recommending the approval of the qualifying bid from Apex to include 3 additions.
Councilmember Anderson.
What budget does this come out of, or that part of does it get added into the project?
It'll be in the overall Ford Street construction project budget.
All right, and I assume that's not an issue with this cost. Okay.
So unfortunately, we tried to work through those processes to have some live training, but that's something that the state does not approve of, unfortunately.
Who's going to tell?
Our public safety director is top notch in making sure that we are following all the regulatory steps and processes of our great state of Kansas. Lloyd, they can't hear you if you want to talk.
Yeah, if you're going to give it to me, come out here and say it on the microphone.
We have been able to utilize it and can set small fires in there. In fact, we did that just last Friday. So we're utilizing it both on the police and fire side for training.
Yep. Yeah, I had happened to have gone by when they were getting ready to do the one Friday and sat there and talked about it. I told them I'd just be more than happy to just throw a match in there, and if they just turn their backs for a few minutes, and they wouldn't let me do it. So
Called it arson.
yeah, I was calling it saving the taxpayers a few dollars.
14,900.
Yeah. All right, council. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve low qualified bid from Apex for demo of house, including 3 additions at 1400 West 77th Street in the amount of $14,900.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item K, change order number 2 for Prairie Lakes Retention Basin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, here with glorious news of another change order. Before you is for the Prairie Lakes Detention Basin that we are under construction, of course, in the TIF district. So this will come out of the TIF fund side of it, which we do have a little room there in contingencies that we do have for this $99,731.60. So as they were going through and excavating the existing area for the kind of second pond in Prairie Lakes, that existing area of that pond, we thought, and everyone was under the impression that there was a good clay liner there to hold water. Unfortunately, that is not the case. And so this comes before you to clear all that out and to put in a clay liner so that second pond actually does hold water, and it's not just a swamp area that holds zero water with some mosquitoes. And so unfortunately, When you're moving a little bit of dirt like we are out there, I don't know if you've seen that, but there's a little bit of dirt moving. These things are going to come up, unfortunately. We did go back and forth. SCH did a great job with going back and forth with the contractor to get this price down. Originally started about $114,000 change order, and so working with the developer, Iron Horse, which we've had a great relationship with, along with SCH and Unruh, came to the agreement and the understanding of the change order dollar amount of the $99,000. So appreciate everyone's effort into sharpening the pencil on this as we continue to move forward with this project. Stand for any questions. And also, too, we do have Tim Austin, part of the Iron Horse development team, with us. If there's any questions I can't answer, I'm sure that he'll be happy to stand up.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
So where are we at in the excavation right now? Are we a couple weeks out, a couple months out?
Define phase.
Did I say
I'll go ahead and let
phase?
Tim kind of give you a brief overview of kind of where we're at with permitting and kind of next steps and kind of where we're at today. So
perfect.
Right now, our original construction contract was for 5 months. So we're 2 months, roughly 2 months into it now. And so about halfway done with the work. So the work is going to start progressing over on the north side. There's a little bit work that's been done over there, as you can see, up along 85th and Seneca. So still quite a bit of dirt to move.
The what?
Still quite a bit of dirt to move.
Yep. What's the next, I guess, after your excavation, what's next?
Hopefully get ready to start building some houses.
Okay.
Councilmember Anderson.
Does this 99,000 come out of the development? It's part of the TIF, so it comes out of that. Okay. So that's not something the city is. Okay. Just want to clarify that. That was all I had. Thank you. I waited to light up because I figured Councilmember Kerstetter would have asked that. But
I know.
He said it in his description.
I missed that.
But nobody listens to him. See, that's the problem. He doesn't get that. I keep telling him that, but he,
I'm aware.
What? You said. All righty. So.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
That's all you hear.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the change order number 2 for the Prairie Lakes Retention Basin in the amount of $99,734.60.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item L, replacement of HVAC for public safety building.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet tonight, there's a memo with supporting documents for schedule replacement of 2 pieces of heating and air conditioning equipment up at the public safety building. Tonight, we're asking for your approval to get those replaced. The combined total amount is $14,536.45 for the low bidder, Brian's Heating and Air Conditioning. We'd ask Mayor and Council to authorize and sign.
Okay, so let me make sure I get this straight. We just gave them a new roof so it stopped leaking, and now they want heating and air conditioning? All righty.
We actually follow a scheduled plan.
I know, but I couldn't pass that up. I just couldn't pass that one up. So, Councilmember Kerstetter.
The budget we just approved tonight, that was for $19,000 for this building, right? For HVAC?
Next year.
Okay. I was getting them confused in my head. I apologize.
Okay.
Motion to approval of low qualified bid from Brian's Heating and Air Conditioning in the amount of $14,526.45.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item M, sewer maintenance and inspection agreement.
All right. So back in July 20th, we issued an RP for a 3-year agreement for sewer cleaning and maintenance. Now, as you know, every year we've had an agreement and we've had the contractor come in, and each year they'll clean approximately 1/3 of our sewer collection system, our sewer mains, to include coming through and cleaning our lift stations a certain amount of years, and also doing some manhole rehabs at our request. We issued an RFP to ask for those services and also different repairs, other services as identified and approved by staff as they come through, but still the mainstay of this service will be the sewer main cleaning, lift station cleaning, and televising of our events. And we are asking council's approval to go with the qualified bid for the unit prices for mayor's specialty services. We did receive 2 bids in this RFP.
Council, any questions?
I make a motion of approval of low qualified bid for mayor specialty service for a 3-year term, 2023 through 2025.
Second. All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Item N, Cedric County Volunteer Transportation Agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Once again, this is just a continuation of our agreement with Cedric County regarding the RSVP services for scheduling rides for our seniors and our volunteer drivers that are here in the town. This is just to renew that for another 1-year period.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Remind me why we only do this annually and not like every 2 or 3 years.
Cedric County, you'll set it up.
Okay.
And they send this to us every year, and like our agenda last year, where we did budget, exact same thing. So we're not.
It would be nice if we could get a 2-year agreement that.
I think it does have to do with the federal transportation stuff as well.
So this is part of a federal transportation program, and so that's an annual thing.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
this is part of kind of, we're underneath the umbrella of that. So they have to renew their agreements annually in
Okay.
order to then apply federally, which is annually.
Makes sense. You might have to remind me annually.
No problem.
Be sure to put that in the minutes.
I move to approve the agreement between Cedric County Department on Aging and City of Valley Center and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-1. Item O, Memorandum of Understanding with USD 262 and the Wichita Metro Crime Commission.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. About 4 weeks ago, I met with a representative from Wichita Metro Crime Commission, Wichita Police Department, and the school district to discuss their Speak Up program. It's something they're operating through the Wichita Crime Stoppers program, so that it's truly anonymous. I can't tell you every school in the metro area is on board yet, but a majority of them are. School district, they talked about it. It's something they were interested in. We're certainly interested in it as well. The one thing I will tell you is I accidentally left out the cow. And so if you proceed tonight, if you would add them in when you make the motion, I'd appreciate that. But this is a program that will allow students to report tips to either the school district or us anonymously. It'll be up to the Crime Stoppers program to review the tip and decide who that goes to. If it's a criminal matter, they'll send it to us, which is why we're part of it, us being the police department. And if it's a non-criminal matter, they'll send it to a school representative, whoever they choose. This will go to one person. I'll decide. It'll probably either be Captain Vote or myself, because we always have our phones and our emails available, so day and night. But it'll go to one person, and then we'll be able to act on it, decide if it's something we need to act on immediately, no matter what time of day or what day of the week, or if it's something we can pass on to the SROs the next day. And then our part of that job also would be to report a disposition back to the Crime Stoppers program, so they can keep track of the success of the program. I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Councilmember Colbert.
Yeah, I was looking at the agreement here.
Can you tell me why the city of Wichita is involved in this? They operate the Crime Stoppers program. That's just based on their program alone? No, so Crime Stoppers, Wichita, Cedric County, but they've included the metro area. We've been part of the Crime Stoppers program for a long time. We've received tips from them and reported back to them the dispositions of those tips for many years now. All of my officers that have business cards have Crime Stoppers information on the back, or the phone number for people to report crimes, and you hand out the business cards. They can do that. It's something Wichita Metro Crime Commission, they added, it used to be Wichita Crime Commission. They added the metro area in there in an attempt to get the entire metro area. So Crime Stoppers is metro, but Wichita, that's a big task. That's a big program, and they have a lot more resources. And so they volunteer to lead that program. Okay, thank you.
And they do it for everybody, not just Wichita. They do it for all the surrounding cities.
Any other questions?
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding with City of Wichita, USD 262, Wichita Crime Commission, and authorize mayor or Chief Newman to sign.
Second.
Do we get everything you needed added? Did you say you did?
Added City of Wichita.
Okay. Okay, a motion is second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Moving on to staff reports. Mr. Schrack.
I will be brief. In case you haven't seen at First and Meridian, the house is gone. So again, I would like to thank the property owner, Mr. Garcia, as well as our building inspector and code enforcement officer, Mr. Bill Andrews, and continuing to work with him in getting that property abated. So now that that's been done, look forward to working with Mr. Garcia on a potential redevelopment. Don't know what that looks like right now, but that property, I know he wants to do something with that property. So again, I appreciate council and all of the residents in the community, their patience as we worked through this abatement process, but very grateful that it's done and looking forward to see what the next step is for that piece of land. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Owings. Chief Newman.
I'll try to be brief as well. So recently I let the council know that officers were now trained and have in their possession Narcan. So I thought tonight I would report that one of the officers last Thursday night was able to successfully use Narcan to revive an overdose patient. He did revive and is doing well today because of that. So also, you notice tonight Captain Boat's in the audience. We have a few extra audience members. Captain Boat operates the Citizens Police Academy every year. And this year in attendance, if they want to stand up here, we have Kalina Ship, Jet Truman, and Michael Miller. They're all part of our Citizens Police Academy. I know it's a late night, but if you would at least say hello on your way out, I would appreciate it. Thank you. They may have a question or two as well. Thank you.
Mr. Earlston. Mr. Shear. Mr. Arbuckle. Mr. Smith. Mr. Clark.
He's not going to be brief.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So we missed a few things, but I'll make sure to remind you here. Okay, so as you see on the corner of 85th and Broadway, our welcome sign is getting constructed as we speak. Hopefully the state of Kansas will be here in a few weeks. That has, of course, Valley Center on it, but in the shape of the state of Kansas. I don't know if anybody realized that in the actual image. Most did. Also, too, the Parks Department, along with Public Works, will be working on doing landscape around there, beautification, moving that fence a little bit, some trees as the entryway, and really beautifying that. That goes along directly with our survey of the community survey input that we received in 2019, as well as our strategic plan when it comes to beautification. So that is moving forward. Also, I'm sure everyone, there's been just a few comments on Facebook. There is a road closure happening next Monday, September 12th, is when the day is upon us to actually begin tearing up and closing down sections of Ford Street and Seneca. And so Ford Street, if you look at that beautifully colored map that Katie and Public Works did, you will be able to enter from the floodway and go eastbound only. And so if you're traveling on Ford Street, you'll be able to go across and go east all the way to South Seneca Street and then take South Seneca to 69th. Seneca Street North will be closed, along with moving to the east on Ford Street. That section will be closed as well. The reason for that, a lot of it has to do with only having eastbound traffic and keeping it open this way is for the post office. And so this is to ensure that everyone in Prairie Lakes continues to receive mail, and we don't have to try to relocate all those mailboxes. So then contractors can actually begin on both sides of it in kind of 3 different phases and working all towards kind of the common middle. So that's kind of why the weird phasing of that project is happening that way. Yes, I am so sorry, and I do apologize, for everyone watching. The one way in and out of Prairie Lakes is not going to be easy. It's not going to be convenient. You are going to have to go all the way to Seneca, go south to 69th, and then go east or west. There's just no other phasing way around it, unfortunately. If there was, we would provide that to you. We worked alongside with PEC and with Wildcat Construction, and just were not able to find an easier solution for road construction. We can all agree that Ford Street or 77th, whichever one you want to call it, it's Ford and Valley Center, that road was atrocious. I mean, that road needed to be done. And so that's what we're doing. Fixing the infrastructure as we continue on and grow as a community. So when it's all said and done, that will be a beautiful road. I encourage everybody to go onto our website underneath the current projects on the Public Works tab, and you can see all the renderings. You can see what the road will look like. You can see the trail that will go all the way to Seneca Street and then connect north all the way to 85th Street eventually. And so please encourage all your constituents to download our app. Our app is currently at 1,010 subscribers. So over 1,000 people get our push notification. So if you receive it, make sure that you do have your notification setting turned on. Any questions on that? I heard some buttons.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Yes, sir.
I have the app, and I have yet to receive a push notification on this closure.
Do you have it turned on
I
for
do.
notifications?
I got one just the other day, and I forgot what it
You
was.
should have got one about farmers market.
I did.
Perfect. Then you are receiving them. And so we haven't sent the push out for the closure yet because we're a week away.
Okay.
No,
that's fine.
So that will come. Typically, we do that on like Friday.
Okay.
So it's closer because people have short attention spans. And so we try to get it a little closer to that date. But it is on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I didn't do a TikTok on it yet. Sorry. And LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stam.
And website.
Is the condemnation part done on that property we're trying to?
We're still working through that, and so that will be done. The judge did order some solutions to be coming our way the end of this week. Friday.
That's not going to hold us up. Since we're starting.
No, it will not hold us up now. We've kind of factored that into the phasing, and so after Friday, we'll pay the property owner, unfortunately, what the appraisers say, and probably not what we offered, and move along the way.
Councilmember Evans.
I wanted to ask, I can't remember, is there a timeline listed on the website showing those different phases?
We're still working with the contractor on really hammering that down. It will be for several months that there'll be one-way traffic as far as just eastbound. As soon as we can transition that, we will. But yeah, unfortunately, it will be for several months right now is what we're anticipating.
Thank you.
If you change your bike to a dirt bike, you could just cut out north and go right across through the
Boom, boom.
There you go.
We did have a great question on Facebook. Is the sidewalk going to be open during the construction? And the sidewalk will be open. The only time it won't be is when we actually convert that ramp to ADA accessible. Mr. Colbert will surely be happy with that. And so that ramp, when it actually is removed to then do the ADA ramp, that's the only time that that sidewalk should be closed. So be creative. All right, moving on. That's all I have. Any questions for me? Thank you all.
Okay, we'll move on to governing body reports. Council, this is what happens when we actually let him take a vacation. So he has a whole week's worth of stuff to get caught up on. So no, he well-deserved vacation. And we're glad to have you back. I'm glad you rested and enjoyed it. So other than that, I have nothing. Councilmember Stam.
I just want to give kudos to the police department. We had a little excitement in our block a week and a half ago, and the officer come over and reassuring to the people that it was still wound up, and it was handled very well. Thank you.
Councilmember Evans.
I have nothing, sir.
Councilmember Bass.
Nothing from me.
Councilmember Anderson.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Gregory.
Just a reminder that the SCAC is meeting this Saturday, the 10th at 8:30 a.m. in Kpts.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson.
I'm good this evening, sir.
Councilmember Colbert.
Oh, where do I start?
At the beginning.
Beginning? Okay, I'll make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Got me. He got me. Ah, good for you.
That was a good one.
All right, we have a motion to second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.
That's really good.